The story you are about to hear begins on a cold morning, December 5th, 1872, when a merchant ship was found adrift in the vast Atlantic Ocean near the desolate Azores Islands. The ship was the Mary Celeste, and what makes this case so terrifying is not just its strange abandonment, but the absolute disappearance of its crew. But what happened on board that vessel? What dark force, perhaps something even more supernatural, caused its men, women, and children to vanish into thin air, leaving the ship untouched? This is a story that defies logic, and to this day, it remains one of the most terrifying enigmas in maritime history. The Mary Celeste wasn't just any cargo ship. It was a marvel of engineering for its time. It measured 31 meters in length, built with oak and steel, and was designed to carry valuable cargo across the ocean. It was constructed in 1861 in New York, and on its final voyage, it was commanded by Captain Benjamin Briggs, an experienced sailor of firm character and deep wisdom. With him were his wife, Sarah, and his 2-year-old daughter, accompanied by a crew of 7 men. All had solid reputations in the Navy, and the voyage seemed to be proceeding without incident. The ship set sail from New York on November 7th, 1872, bound for Genoa, Italy, carrying a valuable cargo, including barrels of industrial alcohol. For weeks, everything seemed normal. However, on November 25th, the last entry in the ship's log was recorded, and then nothing. The calm of the sea often deceives, and December 5th was a day when that calm turned into unease. It was Captain David Morehouse, commanding another cargo ship, the Dei Gratia, who spotted something strange on the horizon. The Mary Celeste was adrift. It was sailing aimlessly, but there was no sign of life aboard. The sails were raised, but the ship was moving without wind, slowly floating in a chilling sea, as if something were pushing it from the shadows. As they drew closer, the atmosphere grew thicker. Something was wrong. Captain Morehouse and his crew boarded the Mary Celeste, fearful yet determined to unravel the mystery. The ship was silent. The air was tense, charged with something inexplicable. The Dei Gratia crew explored the ship, and what they found froze their blood. The kitchen was set for a meal, but there was no one there. The personal belongings of the men and women who had been aboard were still in place. Clothes hung, utensils untouched, and the belongings of the captain's young daughter abandoned in her small cabin. The ship's log was there, but the last entry was from November 25th. And then, the most disturbing discovery: the bilge water, which is usually filled in case the ship takes on water, had been removed. Why had the crew left the ship in this strange state? The provisions on board were intact, and most perplexing of all, there were no signs of struggle, no violence. There was no trace of an attack, but also no sign of an orderly evacuation. No one could explain what had happened. And what was even more unsettling, there was no sign of the crew. The sea was calm. No bodies were found floating. The crew had vanished without a trace. With the discovery of the Mary Celeste, theories began to emerge. At first, many thought that pirates might have been involved, but something didn't add up. Nothing had been stolen. The ship hadn't been looted. The sails were still raised, and the cargo hadn't been touched. What kind of pirates would leave a ship like that without taking what could have been a fortune? The next theory pointed to a possible steam leak. Perhaps a leak in the bilge pumps or even a gas escape caused the crew to abandon the ship out of fear of an explosion. Some speculated that panic might have been so overwhelming that the crew fled in the lifeboats, leaving the ship to its fate. But the evidence didn't support this theory. The lifeboats hadn't been used, and the bilge water hadn't been raised in a recent emergency. Then came the more unusual explanations, like the theory of a supernatural attack. Some claimed the Mary Celeste was cursed, as several of its previous owners had encountered inexplicable tragedies. At sea, superstitions ran rampant among sailors, and many believed the disappearance of the Mary Celeste's crew could be the result of something much darker, something beyond human comprehension. Finally, a sudden storm, a giant wave, or an unexplained weather phenomenon, like a vortex in the sea, was proposed as a possible cause. Maybe, in their desperation, the crew abandoned the ship completely, but without clear signs of storm damage, many reject this theory. Today, more than 150 years later, the mystery of the Mary Celeste remains one of the great unsolved enigmas of history. Not even the most thorough investigators have been able to find an explanation. Every year, the story is revisited by writers, filmmakers, and documentaries, fueling more theories, but also maintaining the air of uncertainty and horror that surrounds the ghost ship. Over the decades, theories continue to be debated, and just when someone believes they have an answer, another, deeper question arises. What really happened on board that ship? Was it the intervention of natural forces, human error, or something beyond our understanding that led to the crew's disappearance? No one knows. Perhaps we will never have a definitive answer, but that uncertainty, that suspense, is what makes the Mary Celeste story so powerful. In the stillness of the ocean, in that void of the unknown, we may never come to understand what truly happened. And perhaps, as with many mysteries, not knowing is what makes it even more terrifying. What do you think? What could have happened on the Mary Celeste? The story reminds us that there are mysteries we can't control or solve, and that sometimes, no matter how hard we try to find answers, some secrets of the sea will simply remain floating in the depths of the unexplained. Thank you for joining us in this episode of Whispers of Crime and Mystery. If you've been captivated by this story, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. Because, as we always say, mystery never leaves. It's always just around the corner, waiting to be discovered or to trap us once more in its grip. Until next time, and remember, in the ocean, some questions may never be answered.